What's new in CloudBees CI 2.361.2.1? Are you new here? If you are, welcome. And if you are new here, you don't know who I am. My name is Darren Pope, and I'm a developer advocate for CloudBees. On Wednesday, October 5th, 2022, CloudBees CI 2.361.2.1 was released. In this video, we will go through some of the new features and bug fixes that are included. You may also want to review the What's New in Jenkins LTS 2.361.2 video that I did with Mark Waite from October 6th. The link for that video is down in the description. If you've never taken a look at the release notes for CloudBees CI, let me show you how to get there. Let's start at docs.cloudbees.com. We'll hover over Documentation, go to CloudBees CI, and then click on Documentation and go down to Release Notes. Before we get into the release notes for this version, I want to go ahead and call out this important section on the page. If you skip versions when you upgrade, refer to the previous versions of the release notes for any relevant known issues or, more importantly, upgrade notes. For example, if you're upgrading from version A to version D, you need to take a look at the release notes not just for version D, but also the release notes for versions B, C, and D. Now, when you scroll down a little bit, you'll see the version that we're looking at today, and that's 2.361.2.1. You'll see release notes for both traditional platforms and for modern cloud platforms. Now, for this release, there are a few bug fixes for modern cloud platforms, but they're so small we're not going to take a look at them. If you are running CloudBees CI for modern cloud platforms, be sure to take a look at that side of the notes. For this video, we're just going to be focusing on the traditional platform and the items that apply to both traditional and modern cloud platforms. So let's go ahead and click into full release notes for traditional platforms and scroll down and take a look at this first new feature. With this release, we have an initial release of the CloudBees Inactive Items plugin. What this plugin does is it analyzes the jobs on a controller and tells you whether or not the job is inactive. As an administrator, you're able to go in and set up what the amount of inactivity time is in days. Currently, this plugin is a preview feature, so if you want to go ahead and try it out, see how it works for you, the link to the documentation is included in this item. Now, as I said, starting up, we're going to look at both modern cloud platform and traditional items, but I do want to call it this one specific item that is only for traditional. If you are running the traditional platform using just the WAR file, you now have a way to verify that the WAR file was signed correctly by using GPG. The link to the documentation is also included in this item. Let's go ahead and scroll down to feature enhancements. And the first thing that we're going to take a look at is that the cask bundle files did not support YAML anchors. That's been added in this release. The one thing that you have to keep in mind is that the anchor description element name must be prefixed by X-. And you can see an example of that right here in the item. There are also a number of other cask feature enhancements included with this release, but there's another item that I want to call out that is not cask related. And it's this very last item, auto trigger build after a draft PR is moved to ready for review. Now this is related specifically if your job is using the GitHub branch source plugin under the hood. So if it is, now what happens is the PRs in draft mode do not trigger builds, but when that draft PR is moved from draft to ready for review, at that point, the build will trigger. Let's go ahead and scroll down to the resolved issues. There are a handful of just random items that were fixed with this release. Now under known issues, the first few items are related to plugins being removed from CAP. Let's go ahead and scroll down to the upgrade notes and understand better what's going on with that. This was announced in the previous release, which stated that CloudBees is no longer going to be supporting these following 6 plugins. So if you're using these 6 plugins, they are no longer included in CAP. If you are using these plugins and you are managing it via cask, you've got to make some changes to how these plugins are being managed within your environment. The link to the documentation for installing non-CAP plugins with plugin catalogs is right here in the item. And finally, before I leave this section, the very first item under upgrade notes. If you're just now upgrading to version 2.361, that version now requires Java 11. So if you're coming from a version prior to 2.361, you first have to upgrade the version of Java to Java 11 that is running your CloudBees CI service, and from that point, you'll be okay. If you're still running Java 8, the CloudBees CI service will fail to start. If you have any questions about that, reach out to CloudBees support. If you have any questions or comments, you can reach out to us on Twitter at CloudBees. If this video was helpful to you, give us a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed to CloudBees TV yet, why not? Take a moment, click on that subscribe button, and then ring that bell, and you'll be notified anytime there's new content available on CloudBees TV. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next video.